Do you think overwork is contributing to declining fertility rates? Capitalism and hustle culture emphasize the importance of individualism, competition, and success at any cost in this culture. People are encouraged to work hard and pursue their own goals, often at the expense of other areas of their lives, including their relationships with their families. The breakdown of the extended family unit means that parents can no longer rely on their extended family to help raise their children. In the past, children were often raised by their grandparents or other relatives. But nowadays, parents are left to do it all on their own. The result of this trend is that many families are becoming increasingly isolated, with less support and community around them. Parents are struggling to balance their work and family responsibilities, leading to increased stress and burnout. Do you think this is a reason why there has been a huge decline in the total fertility rate? Many feel it is much better to simply not have kids. There are many contraceptives available today. Not just the pill or IUD or condoms, but also surgical sterilization options such as vasectomy, tubal ligation or bisalps. In the past there used to be a village that looked after children and helped raise a family. But nowadays if you have children and then sacrifice your time, effort and money into the family, your family is likely to just leave the nest eventually and become distant relations seen a handful of times a year. You put all this effort and money and you get nothing from it. Your family just take advantage of you, strip you dry, and then leave you so that you are old and poor and eventually end up in an overcrowded nursing home. Note that I do not think that declining fertility rate is necessarily negative. There are many positive benefits of declining fertility rate, such as benefits for the environment, less congestion, lower house prices, etc. Poverty wages make it unaffordable to have kids. Plus it can cost $2,000 per child per month for childcare. Ask Japan. They work 14-16 hours and wonder why their population is declining. Overwork and underpaid. Yes. As someone who is overworked and does not want kids, I think workload alone is not causing the decline, but it is certainly a contributing factor. I think that social views are changing and the graduate school get married have kids system isn't the default anymore. People are becoming more aware that they don't have to do that if they don't want to. Women also having more liberty to choose their own future is playing a large role. My grandmother got married and had kids because she had to. She wasn't allowed a bank account or to own a home, so she had to marry a man that would provide her these things under the deal that she also gives him children and is a stay-at-home mom. Women now don't need to do that, and it turns out many don't want to. Underpaid, therefore having to work more. The issue is pay. Fix pay and the overwork problem improves. Childcare costs a fortune and can easily eat up an entire income in a family with 2 working parents. That's before escalating call is factored in. Plus in the USA it costs so much for antenatal and obstetric care. Most people being overworked, not being able to afford even considering kids until later in life, when you're less fertile. Most married couples I know are just starting to try for kids in their early mid-30s, which is a far cry from even the boomer generation and prior, when getting married and immediately cranking out kids right after high school while having a stable livable income was the norm. Obviously that'll lead to lower fertility, birth rates, more so costs. If it's cheaper to literally not work and stay at home to take care of the kid instead of pay daycare, people will do that. Young people are underpaid and expenses are too nuts. I'm not gonna have kids. There's no affordable housing and the government doesn't care until it's starting to affect them more. Big reason why this anti-abortion BS is being pushed so hard is because the government doesn't wanna actually fix any of these issues. It wants cheap meat for the grinder. Fuck em. Starve the beast. Probably not fertility rates, at least not directly. Derp. Stress certainly puts the hamper on a lot of biological functionality. That's something you can probably find in a PubMed journal outlook of future parents on having additional children and the willingness, financial ability of people to have children. Not to mention maternal mortality, which has been trending upwards in the United States and dropping almost everywhere else equally developed. https www.npr.org/2017/05/12/528098789/ USHA's the maternal deaths in the developed world. I thought this would be about individual biological fertility and I could rant about endocrine disruptors. As for why fertile individuals are deliberately choosing to not have kids, it isn't complicated, I don't think. In the modern world, kids aren't an overall benefit to clan survival and well-being. At best, kids are an expensive vanity and at worst a liability. People underestimate how bizarrely anomalous this is in context of 200,000 years of modern humans. Governments can bribe people to have kids. And they will, with some limited success. But in the end, birth rates will keep declining. As a parent, I absolutely believe this. I know so many who are struggling just to keep themselves afloat that they wouldn't even consider having kids. So many of us grew up with two working parents that we saw firsthand how much they struggled to do it. My husband and I wouldn't have had kids if we didn't have our village family nearby to help us sometimes. My oldest goes to grandma's house after school 1 day per week and on breaks from school, and my youngest goes there when sick or daycare is closed. I wouldn't have been able to stay employed through COVID if it weren't for our moms. When it can cost $40,000 or more with insurance to give birth, and then $23,000 a month for daycare, and you're making min wage, or heck, even 2x min wage or more, most people these days just can't afford to have a kid. I had always planned on having kids when I was young. Then, motions vaguely to everything. Fucking in this economy? Question mark exclamation mark. Most people won't start a family unless they feel they have job stability, housing stability and health services they can count on over the long term. These are absent for a growing number of people. Overwork can cause declining mental and physical health, which also prevents one from developing a healthy relationship with someone to start a family with. You're making it way too complicated. People are choosing not to have kids because they can't afford it. Wages down, costs up, childcare exorbitant. I think so. People have less energy and time, and both of those are vital to raising a kid. People are also more emotionally intelligent lately. So I think the threshold for the required effort for raising kids has risen for most with that higher understanding. This lowers the number of people having children to folks that are either far more secure or far more irresponsible than in the past. Microplastics in the environment acting as synthetic hormones coupled with increased cortisol levels due to stress, lack of sleep and over-processed nutrient-deficient food and yes, overwork, are all contributing to declining fertility rates. Perhaps you meant people who are unwilling and or unable to afford to have children. Capitalism is the hustle. Several studies have shown what humans like to do if they don't have to work as much. Humans would sleep, eat, and have sex more. Just more sex would lead to some babies. Having a system like Sweden or France would lead to more births. Free healthcare, paid maternity leave, job protections, affordable mortgages, rent, and subsidized childcare makes the birth rate go up.
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.